Greetings from Springfield, Missouri, and this is Friday, May 16th, 2025. And this is Vody Stasnowa signing on to do some FM radio tuning this morning. And we've got definitely some excitement on the airwaves this morning. I was just routinely going through the dial, and there didn't seem to be much unusual. And then I stopped at 94.1 and heard Spanish. And I mean, it's not unusual to hear Spanish on FM. I mean, we have a local FM station that broadcasts in Spanish from Shell Knob on 97.7. But on 94.1, that is extremely unusual. And it turns out it ID'd from somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. So we have Dallas-Fort Worth here in Springfield, Missouri, coming in on 94.1, a Spanish station. So let's listen a while. As you can see, I've been recording the audio for just over 6 minutes. Look at that, we've got a Spanish tuner ID as well. This is my first Spanish tuner ID, because the 97.7 from Shell Knob does not have does not produce a tuner ID.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Christine Nome, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
En el Disneyland Resort, el lugar más feliz del mundo, encontrarás todo tipo de felicidad. La felicidad de no puedo creer que estoy con la princesa Tiana. ¡Wow! Y la del tipo It's a Small World después de todo. La felicidad de descubrí mi nuevo póster favorito. Y esta. ¡Woohoo! No puede faltar la felicidad de dar vueltas en las tacitas. La felicidad de correr.
Okay, well, right now I'm going to try another Dallas one while we have Dallas-Fort Worth coming in. One of the Dallas-Fort Worth ones that I know. I know they have I know Dallas-Fort Worth has a 100.3, so I'm going to try that. Because usually when one from one area comes in, others try as well. I do wonder who is playing Rocket Man on 100.3. That's likely KDVV V100 Topeka. Who's doing the talk? I don't know. Let me try 97.1 The Freak, which is an ESPN radio out of Dallas-Fort Worth. That's one I know because a friend of mine picked it up 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
And mornings with the Woody Show. It's 97.1 The Eagle. The Woody Show. Yeah. Woody, Greg, Menace, Gina Grad.
97.1 The Eagle.
Morgan. Hey. Sammy is here. Phones are open.
I believe that's Dallas-Fort Worth.
You send us a text, of course, over to 22987.
They had been the Freak for a while, but I'm just assuming they are the Eagle.
There's one before the show starts in the morning, some of our stations will run some stuff from the previous day.
Right.
But it's like super early. It's before the show even begins.
Right.
Because the Dallas-Fort Worth one used to be 97 won the Eagle back in the 90s.
But the point is, like, so this is one that came in the other day, 951 texting over. Damn, you guys late or what? Play some new stuff, not yesterday's episodes. Damn, Woody Show.
But they were 97 won the Eagle, playing classic rock back in the 90s.
I'm like,
But they, if this is indeed the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is very, very likely that this is,
just to keep handy. Okay. In case you ever need a good comeback for
they probably rolled back to classic rock.
People are on social media mouthing off about stuff. You could say something like, "What a strange thing to say out loud." All right, I like that. Or, "I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you."
Sure, that's a good one.
I like. Or, "Let's normalize keeping some thoughts to ourselves." Now, these don't hit as hard as something that involves your mom's box or these other ones.
Trying to get that tuner ID.
Whatever Dumb Dungeon. Yeah, right. You brighten every room you walk out of is another one.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's good. That makes sense when you don't think about it.
Maybe they're just news talk, the
That's
Eagle.
so brave of you.
But I'm assuming they've probably gone back to classic rock.
But then we both be wrong.
That's
classic. Great. I hate it when I see this one. Well, that's a choice. That one I don't like. You're doing your best, and that's embarrassing. Kind of like that one. I bet your parents change the subject when you get brought up.
Oh,
good. Damn. I wasn't insulting you. I was describing you.
Oh, yes. That I'm keeping.
That I like, yeah. All right, that one's pretty
That
good.
Key Buena's carried over from 94.1 FM.
Yeah. Or this one, and people hate to agree to disagree. Just because you don't like the answer doesn't mean it's not the answer.
Well, we heard him say 97 won the Eagle. I'm going to move on and see what else I can pick up here.
We want you to be prepared.
Yes.
Get ready. Snarky replies. Yeah, look out. 877-44-WOODY. Text if you got a good one over to 22987. It is the Woody Show. It's 97.1 the Eagle.
Okay, the All-American Rejects. I have to try to catch this whole song. Also trying to get that old tuner ID, moving it to a slightly different position. The Dallas, Texas area to Springfield, Missouri. The signal getting choppy, or getting, losing stability here. Okay, also from Gainesville, Dallas, Fort Worth area, I just remembered there's a 94.5. A maybe R&B. Let's try them. This could be Dallas, but this could be Dallas coming in here at 94.5. It could also be Topeka, Kansas. That's most often what it is if I got something from 94.5 in.
This Saturday, May 17th, catch Jim Adler and Associates, the Texas Hammer, at the Tacos and Tequila Festival at Panther Island Pavilion in Fort Worth.
Yeah, we've got a Fort Worth mention on 94.5.
Get your tickets at tacosandtequilafestival.com. Jim Adler and Associates.
Long ago, this was KDGE, Gainesville, Dallas, Fort Worth, 94.5, The Edge, which was an alternative radio station. I believe it is now R&B based on research I did a couple years ago. I'm trying to find the best position for it here. Meanwhile, check out this antenna I use. A tomato cage, headphones coming out of my Blue View 3 phone tuner, and just resting against the metal of this tomato cage in Springfield, Missouri. Fort Worth mention on 94.5. Trying to hold the signal in. Coming back a little bit. It's pretty tough to get a 94.5 here in Springfield, Missouri, because we have a local station on 94.7 right next to it, KTTS, legacy country station at full power, 100 kilowatts. We got Dallas squeezing in next to it, or Fort Worth, Dallas. It was hard to hear, but this ad was advertising something going on at an event in Fort Worth. You could hear part of the traffic for Dallas. There it is. Magic 94.5, the real sound of the DF dub. KCMJ, Gainesville, Dallas, Fort Worth. The transmitter is actually, it is actually, as I understand it, a little bit west of Dallas, near Gainesville, Texas. And there we go, it's coming back. KCMJ, Gainesville, Dallas, Fort Worth. Magic 94.5. There's another Dallas one that comes to mind, or Dallas area one I'm going to try. Used to be K104, KKDA FM, Dallas, Fort Worth, which was rap and R&B back in the 90s. Let's see what it is now, or if it's coming in. That's the biggest question. Can a 104.5 from the Dallas area make it in if it's still there?
Plus, someone will win $1 million on the island. Play X scratch tickets and enter today.
Got something, clearly.
Be 18 or older, play responsibly.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com.
If you want a 100% complimentary trip to Cancun at a luxury resort, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now. 800-712-4029.
Yes, alligator.
800-712-4029. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $398. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $398. What are you waiting for? Call 800-712-4029. 800-712-4029 and give us your answer.
The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates. Mike, can you pick me up? My car is not insured and I don't want to risk getting a ticket and pay a huge fine.
Nancy, why you just don't have insurance?
It's too expensive. I couldn't pay $125
That ID
a month.
that says Z104.5 The Edge
I have the same car as you.
is actually from yesterday, and that's a radio station from Tulsa I had. So the ID is still there. This does not sound like the advertisements that are traditionally on 104.5 The Edge. Z104.
Liability premium only. Now offering roadside assistance and more with the Freeway Auto Club. You're hitting her from DFW. I'll tell you what the insurance company doesn't want you to do.
There's that DFW mention. Dallas, Fort Worth. This might still be KKDA FM. They used to say, yeah, your station, K104, KKDA FM, Dallas, Fort Worth. Back in the early 90s, I could get them from Shawnee, Oklahoma. It was a good 130 miles away as the crow flies, roughly. Maybe 150. Didn't come in all the time, that's for sure. Yeah, they're still roughly the same. Like, they haven't changed it, I know. They were the coolest Dallas one I could get. They and the Edge. They were the coolest ones I could get back in the day. Just amazing to get them for the first time knowingly here in Springfield, Missouri. I picked them up from Gainesville, Missouri, also back in the 90s a couple of times. Gainesville, Missouri is about 60 miles southeast of here as the Raven flies. K104 from Springfield. Trying to think of other Dallas-Fort Worth ones, but it's coming in stronger now. Let's just listen. I've got to say, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at 95 degrees, that happens a lot. New Smurfs movie. I do wonder if Eiffel 65 got involved in that too. I mean, they have the song that says I'm blue. K104 is fading clearly. Let's see what else we can come up on this amazing morning in Springfield, Missouri. I can hardly hear Rihanna coming through now. Well, and then here comes in. Let's see if that That Spanish one on 94.1 is still in. I'm still amazed I got a tuner ID from it. My first Spanish tuner ID. Yeah, it's still there. Much weaker than it was earlier. But you can still see that old tuner ID on there. Dallas, Fort Worth.
Siempre informando a nuestra comunidad. El bueno, la mala y el feo. Puro show. Más adelante, el bueno, la mala y el feo. Más adelante, señores, vamos a regresar buscando llamada ganadora. Vamos a... marcas a continuación.
You can hear the country coming in. The country is most likely KFKF Kansas City coming in for a visit.
¿Cuáles quieres? La del pedoncito. El próximo ganador puede ser tú. Escucha a las 7 de la mañana, Pacífico y 9 Centro.
Yeah, so yes, the Dallas Fort Worth area. Let's see if the Eagle's still there. 97.1 the Eagle.
Seasons 1 through 8 for sale, asking $30 or best offer.
No, this may be KAYQ.
438-6394.
KAYQ, Warsaw, Missouri. The country station. It's not very strong either.
60444-9797, the number to call to be on Tradio with me today. Hey, good morning. Yes, I'm looking...
For sure, Dallas's Eagle has retreated.
A couple rifles.
At least for now.
Rifle or a
So yeah, most likely we're hearing KAYQ, the lake, from Warsaw, Missouri at about 4,500 watts.
As I've told you before, I stand and I keep a couple of things in my hand. So I'm not able
But on the tuner ID, that 214/817 that was starting to overtake that old ID from 97.1 the Lake Warsaw, that 214/817 was coming from 97.971 the Eagle from the Dallas area, and that is most likely area codes in the Dallas area. As a matter of fact, I'm sure of it. So it was starting to tuner ID, we just couldn't get the whole ID in. But it was probably going to be giving two phone numbers for the Eagle in the Dallas Metroplex. But this one, yes, the 660 area code is Central Missouri, which has Warsaw in it. There it is, 97.1 the Lake.
Then click on Treaserman Morning Theater. Make sure you go to the correct day's date, and you'll be able to read
Lake coming in pretty well too now.
that way.
Fully taken over at only about 4,500 watts and about 60 miles away too. So that's a good jaunt for the lake.
All right, folks, I'm going to take another up to a 60-second commercial
Let's see what we have on 98.5. That slightly tinny sound.
Riley Green, Worst Way, Your Country 98.5 The Bar, West Central Missouri's best country with Jason Aldean.
Yep, he said it a lot better than I was. I was suspecting it was Warrensburg's 98.5 The Bar. They have kind of a tinny sound, which helps me differentiate them from other country stations that might be on 98.5. namely 98.5 The Bull from Tulsa, KVOO, the Radio Ranch. That one I have yet to get here at the house since the bar came around. 98.5 The Bar, Warrensburg, Missouri. A good 80 miles out. Maybe 90. It's a ways out. As the Raven flies, about 80. Maybe 90. Okay, how about 97.5? This is most likely going to be double K country at about 6,000 watts from Nevada, Missouri. Also a good jaunt away for the strength, but it's a fairly common occurrence on this setup here with this tomato cage and an upstairs room in North Springfield, Missouri. Double K country most likely here. KNMO. Let's move on here. Let me see what Dallas ones. Could there be any Dallas ones left? There's a general fade from Dallas. I know they had a young country on 95.3 from Denton, I think a little north of Dallas, way back in the day. Or 105.3. 105.3. We've got nothing on that. Let's hit Seek and see what we can come up with. 104.7 The Cave from Marshfield. 104.1 Ash Grove. KSGF here in the Springfield area. KQRA, Brookline, Springfield, Q102. A good rock one.
Summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5
101.7 Revolt, their sports one now. Real country.
Some thieves are just begging to get caught.
Real country from right here in 101 The Fox, KCFX from Kansas City, and it is actually IDing the tuner ID very quick. Playing the Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream. Coming in very well. 100.5 The Wolf. KSWF right here in Springfield area. Nixa, Springfield. 99.9. I believe there's a Dallas one at the time. I'm not sure on that. But something is messing with KBFL here in the Springfield area. Underneath it, usually this sucker comes in perfectly well. Fairly low power at about 3,100 watts. So when there is something coming in from elsewhere, it can jack with it pretty well, and that is what's happening. But not enough to overtake it, to break through that interference wall, which is the station itself. KADI 99.5 at 6,500 watts, I believe it is, from right here in Springfield. Strong, with a buzz in the background. That's KADI. There's the tuner ID for that. And the Cure And what a day for it on Friday. Friday I'm in live on 98.7 The Dove, right here in Springfield.
We're ready to make the Ozarks a better place. All we need is the details on your next charity event. The Dove Gives Back will help promote your charity event. Share the details with us now on the Dove app or at 987thedove.com. Oh, yeah.
That's nice of them. Okay, let's keep going. Yep, there's that 98.5 The Bar. Warrensburg.
Attending protests, the judge wrote.
K. Drew, right here in Springfield, at only 43 watts at last check.
That's the School of International and Public Affairs, but the Trump
Carryover
administration
IDs
is
there
still trying to
from the
deport him.
Dove. Become a VIP today.
Joins me here now
K.
in our
Drew,
New York
public
studio
radio and
for his
also
first
very
live
interesting
interview.
arts and
Welcome
music.
to Democracy Now! Congratulations on
Hooray
your
for
freedom.
Democracy Now! US 97, KXUS, right here in Springfield.
86% of consumers
96.9 The Jock. Low power station right here, 3100 watts. Comes in very well though.
Learn more about the power of radio at simmercommunications.com.
Can't hear much coming in, trying to come in underneath it. When something does try to come in, it's usually 96.9 The Cow, KKOW, Pittsburgh, Kansas, serving the Joplin Forest States area. Not hearing anything from The Cow. 96.5, Power 96.5. And this is the real KSPW. I accidentally said the Wolf was KSPW. It's a tricky one there for me because the KSPW makes me think Springfield Wolf, but it's PW. And the Wolf at 100.5 is actually KSWF, Springfield Wolf. Power 96.5. Springfield's R&B and hip hop. And the Super Tramp, that is most likely KCWD, Harrison, Arkansas. So the dial is returning more to normal conditions. I have a feeling Dallas has made possibly a full retreat. Let's jump to the B-52s, Love Shack. That again, this is very likely KCWD, Harrison, Arkansas. It's only at about 8,000 watts and over 70 miles away, so it is actually fairly impressive to get it up here in Springfield. But it comes in pretty often. It's the most common contender is K-Love, KLRQ out of Clinton, Missouri. 80 miles to the northwest, and is actually much stronger. And so that's why usually here in the Springfield area with this setup, I get Caleb Clinton more often. So I'm always impressed when KCWD can power through. But let's jump to the Dallas frequencies and see if we've got anything still coming in from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Hy-Vee, that's most likely, that is most likely KFKF, Kansas City. It's a country one. But let's confirm this if they'll stay in. The Key Buena, that is a carryover. That is the old ID from the Dallas area.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience,
and I'm probably going to end this recording shortly because it appears for now our exceptional radio event has lifted. And also, I'm starting to run out of a recording room on the phone. I can only record about an hour at this time, and highly suspected KFKF appears to have retreated. A high-V commercial could also be Omaha, channel 94 out of 94.1 Omaha, which is like top 40 hip-hop R&B type, but I still suspect this is Kansas City. That is 90% what it is on 94.1 if it mentions a Hy-Vee commercial here in Springfield. KF is surprisingly tough to get compared to other Kansas City stations. It says it's not directional on radio locator, but I would swear it is at least a little. It might just be because it has a lot of company locally here on 94.1. That might eat away at its signal. Anyway, we've lost it. We have something pretty strong on the edge here. What is this? On the edge of the... Yeah, the Oasis network is most likely what we're hearing overbleed from. Anyway, how about 104.5? You got anything coming in at all? It appears we've had a retreat of Dallas, Fort Worth on there as well. Anyway, yeah, sometimes these events come up and they drop off rather quickly. 105.5, I did not try that while the dial is quite a bit more active. Oftentimes we can get St. Joseph, Missouri, KKJO, St. Joseph. It's a pretty good jaunt. Top 40. That's most likely what's playing the Jelly Roll here, but it could also be KKOY Chanute. Similar format, much lower power, but also much closer than St. Joseph, so that's why it can be a contest. But 90% of the time, historically, it has been KKJO St. Joseph, KJO 105.5, playing a top 40 song on here. Anyway, that's probably enough from me, and enough from me today. I heard it fade into another top 41. But the Jelly Roll has come back. It's just about to go, but maybe we can try to hold to the end of the Jelly Roll song. We may have had KKOY and KJO 105, and of course always a possibility of something else on a morning like this. But most likely... Oh, it's Bobby Bones. When I heard that trilling, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is it?" And then it said Bobby Bones, and if it's the Bobby Bones show on 105.5, that is most likely KPFM, Mountain Home, Arkansas, which is a good 90 miles to the southeast as the Raven flies. 80 to 90 miles to the southeast. That's a good capture too, if indeed that's what it is. Yeah, the Bobby Bones Show is an X factor for the radio DXer in trying to do the old traditional way of doing things, because he crosses formats quite a bit too. So, well, and Jelly Roll does anyway. Yeah, Jelly Roll is an X factor for trying to identify a distant station, even semi-distant. But that comes with the territory. There have been crossover artists all throughout the ages. Ace Hardware, that is very likely Mountain Home, Arkansas. There we go. We got a 100% ID for KPFM, Country 1055 Mountain Home, via context. The mention of Highway 62 East and Mountain Home and Ace Hardware. That's a cool note to finish on. We started in Dallas and we ended up going many places. Harrison mentioned from the Mountain Home Station. Harrison is on the western edge of KPFM Country 105's listening area. But anyway, ending up in the Mountain Home Twin Lakes area. And it's surging. 870, that's an Arkansas area code. Okay, well, this is Vody Stasnowa signing off. And may your adventures, whatever adventures you have, may they bring you happiness.